And welcome inside the Backstage Pass. It is a TGIF version today, too. And it is the big game weekend, no doubt. Number 58 out there, too, as well. The San Francisco 49ers and the Kansas City Chiefs. Didn't listen to much of the sports radio stuff coming up this week, too. Kind of just formulating my own opinion. All we can hope for is a good game out there, too. And I don't have a dog in the fight, considering both my teams are out of the entire playoff picture. But, of course, hope for a good game. And, of course, all the funny commercials that are out there, too, as well. We're presented by our friends over at Bangtail Whiskey and, of course, the Caden Gordon Show. .com, today's best country mix, which you can listen to the Backstage Pass every Friday night on that very station. And, of course, our friends at HighTideCountry.net. Pleased to welcome in here, too, as well on KKTC True Country 99.9 and our friends out there, too, at HighTideCountry.net. A guy that I had the utmost respect for, and it turned out to be just a great experience when he got sent to me, too, as well. Austin, here to the program. What's up, man?
How's it going? Thanks for having me, Brandon.
Yes, sir. Good to have you, man. Good to have you, too. Latest single is really good out there, too. Leave Like That across all those digital platforms out now, too. Well, hey, let's get to know you, especially for the listeners out there in the West, up in Colorado, and, of course, right there in Taos, New Mexico. We play great music. A little bit about Austin and the connection to music from a young age. Tell me about that.
Yeah, so I grew up in choir and theater. I was that kid growing up. I didn't know music could be a thing that you can make money at until I got to college. I started writing songs in high school, and then sophomore year of college, I met an old duo partner of mine at a philanthropy event put on by a sorority on campus, and we got together that summer in Louisville, Kentucky, started writing songs together, and we became a duo shortly after that, and then we started touring around Western Kentucky, Murray, Paducah, and even in Nashville a little bit. And then after graduation, we moved to Nashville and put out our first single in 2018. And then shortly after that, got picked up by my manager to this day, Aaron Kaiser, and we've kind of been off to the races ever since that. But yeah, I grew up loving country music from a young age, and rock and roll as well. I remember going home from school and my dad having Aerosmith on in the truck. So I had a love and a passion for music from a young age, and I'm just super fortunate and excited to still be able to do that as my passion.
Yeah, tell me about that too, because a lot of people, the move to Nashville, and of course, so much talent is there when it comes to singer songwriters. You meet so many great people. You mentioned Aaron Kaiser too out there. The great connections that people have too, and just you never know who you're going to meet, run into, exchange business cards with, or contacts, and how much of a help that is. But also too, I tell people sometimes it's pretty cool to just cash in the chips, walk in the thing, and play the game of roulette or whatever your chosen casino game is, and say I'm betting it all on black or I'm putting it all on red or whatever, and going there to Music City to make the magic happen. Talk about that.
Definitely. So after graduation, we couldn't find jobs in Nashville. So I moved to Knoxville, Tennessee to work a job there. And my old partner moved to Louisville and worked there. But we continued to write over FaceTime. And we got half a song done. And we're like, bro, we got to move to Nashville now. Like, this is where it's all happening. So we finally picked a date. We moved to town October of 2017, and we didn't know anybody. We just talked to our friends around town. Like, once we started getting in those cliques, we would go out to writers' rounds whenever we first got here and kind of network that way. And for the listeners that don't know what a writers' round is, it's where 3 or 4 different artists come on stage and play their songs acoustically to the crowd. And you get a lot of connections that way, get a lot of rights set up. And that's exactly what we did. So we would work our day jobs and then write after we got done at like 6 p.m. till we were done, and then wake up and do it again the next day. But when we put out our first single, like you said, we're betting it all on black. Like, we had no idea what to do. So literally we just put a sponsored Instagram ad out, $100 ad, just to see what happens. And luckily it got picked up, and super fortunate for that. But yeah, Nashville's a scary beast if you're not careful. And I always say you got to remember your why when you move to town.
Yeah.
Because you could lose it quick. And but I think that's what keeps the artists that are supposed to make it going forward.
Yeah, no doubt too, and that's what keeps that town so magical too. And like I credit the songwriters a lot too, because I think it's just something to see something born from nothing and put those ideas out there, and the exchange of ideas when you go to that studio time or those recording sessions or writers rounds, what have you, the same thing, and just brainstorm. That's the beauty of coming up with a song. Tell me about the Austin writing style and like what lyrics kind of have to go in it as far as what has to be in a song.
So I like to pride myself on being the melody guy in a room. like I said, I grew up choir and theater, so like I'm always humming something, and I feel like that's my strong suit in a room. And that's what's so cool about this town. Like people move to Nashville to be strictly a lyricist or
Hmm.
strictly a producer, and to be able to get put in rooms with these people where all of our creative ideas are flowing together. I think that's what creates the magic. And my thing with my music, I just wanted to have a catchy melody
Hmm.
and lyrics that are generally relatable to a large amount of people. But yeah, the melodies for sure. It's a no brainer for me. They have to be spot on for me to be like,
Hmm.
yeah, I'm putting that song out.
No doubt, dude. I love this. Let's talk about Way Too Much, which I know people can hear out there across the streaming platforms. I'm sure that's might be one of the ones he's fitting in today to play for us too as well. Get a little backstory of this one too at the same time and how this magic came together. That's the word of the show now.
Yeah, magic. That one came together 2.5 years ago. Actually, it was on a writers retreat up in Kentucky in a cabin, and it was me and two buddies and my producer Matt.
Hmm.
They're just for the weekend, and we probably got about 5 songs out of that. But Way Too Much stuck out to me, and I've always had that song stuck in my head since. And um, now being a solo artist, I feel like it was the perfect time and the
Hmm.
perfect song to introduce me because I grew up on alternative, like 2000s rock style bands, and I wanted to try to incorporate that in my new style of music. And I feel like Way Too Much is the perfect example of that. It's all about a heartbreak and staying out way too much, drinking way too much, and I found myself doing that more times than not after my breakups in the
Hmm.
past. And I just think this music direction that I'm taking is very very fresh and unique, and I hope the fans can gravitate towards that.
No doubt too. And like I said, a good music out there will leave that imprint on the fans too, no doubt, and just
Definitely.
flock to you, man. Like just say those I say the birds in the wintertime, they know when it's cold, they're smart and they flock south. So a good song is why the
Definitely.
fans gravitate to you as well. Well, I tell you, before we take a timeout, let's have you play a song for us here on the show. And of course, we'll be there in Nashville, Tennessee here in a couple of weeks for a country radio seminar. So if I run into you that week, it's just another bonus for the
I'll be there.
program. Come out and hang out with us too as well. And of course, we're going to be at the Doghouse Saloon right there on Demumbrian for Wednesday, Thursday night, the 28th and 29th, broadcasting live, probably about 5:30 to 10:30, give or take, or whatever. Because as soon as artists walk through the door, hey, we get started here on the Backstage Pass. And of course, Friday, March 1st, same time at the Wild Beaver Saloon. So, brother, feel free to come out and just hang out with us and play some music. So,
Definitely, man. Doghouse Saloon to my old stomping grounds. I came up in Nashville there.
we'll be there, second floor of the green room, having a good time myself, and of course, my talent coordinator, Alan Price, out there too. But, brother, take it away. What are we going to hear?
Awesome. So we're talking a lot about Leave Like That. That's the newest
All right,
single. So I figured I'd kick things off with that.
let's do it. It's all
So here it
yours.
is. Didn't we both say that we were gonna be the ones to make it work? Isn't hopping in and backing out just only gonna make things worse? Didn't we just paint the town, cruise around all last week? Didn't I just put the money down for a trip to PCB? Hold up, girl, you left your t-shirt hanging in the closet. Ain't you gonna want it back? Looks like you forgot your makeup sitting on the counter, along with all the plans we had. You're walking out the door, and I'm like, this can't be it. How you gonna look so fine in them Levi's and just leave like that? Look, aren't we gonna talk about it? Maybe change your mind with one more kiss. Leave your car and park and put your bags back inside before you get too far gone. Throw this all away. But if you're gonna hit the road, at least come get the rest of your things. Hold up, girl, you left your t-shirt hanging in the closet. Ain't you gonna want it back? Looks like you forgot your makeup sitting on the counter, along with all the plans we had. You're walking out the door, and I'm like, this can't be it. How you gonna look so fine in them Levi's and just leave like that? Didn't we just paint the town, cruise around all last week? I got one last thing to say before you make me a memory. Hold up, girl, you left your t-shirt hanging in the closet. Ain't you gonna want it back? Looks like you forgot your makeup sitting on the counter, along with all the plans we had. You're walking out the door, I'm like, this can't be it. How you gonna look so fine in them Levi's and just leave like that? Just leave like that. Just leave like that. And that is Leave Like That.
That's Leave Like That. How about that? No
about
doubt about
that?
it right there. Austin here on the Backstage Pass, KKTC True Country 99.9. And of course, Monday morning, back with Shelly in the morning too. A whole new week of shows coming up next week too as well. I guess we'll let the cat out of the bag Monday morning. I'm going to hold off and wait too because a big name is coming here. And Austin knows very well to the Backstage Pass. And I'm just going to kind of hold off on the weekend and just let it simmer, let people sit in with the teas out there too. We'll talk that about Monday morning with Shelly on KKTC and our call in. And of course, the shows we have coming up next week, hightidecountry.net, and always powered by the sportsguys podcast.com. If you ever miss an episode, you can actually go there or to the CadenGordonShow.com on Fridays. We're played out there too as well. And KKTC 7 nights a week out there on 99.9 and the streaming app too as well. We'll take a timeout, another performance coming up too as well. And we'll talk a lot more music and, of course, counting down to Valentine's Day. It's just possible. It's there, right? It's a big deal. So what you want to do is go get them some jewelry. You can't go wrong with jewelry, right? So you want to do that next week, guys. Shop online if you're looking for that perfect gift for your spouse, friend, or family member. Jewelry by Tommy has got you covered. You can email burleysystem@yahoo.com today to order. BUEHRLE system@yahoo.com today to order. Put that in and get them something nice, and that way you're not sleeping in, no pun intended, the doghouse out there too as well. More with Austin here on the Backstage Pass. Stay tuned. A word from our other sponsors back here in a flash. KKTC True Country 99.9 and our friends at hightidecountry.net. And of course, powered by the sportsguyspodcast.com. Stay tuned.
The Caden Gordon Show is a 2-hour show playing the best in country music. So check it out at thecadengordonshow.com. Again, that is thecadengordonshow.com.
The Bangtail pour is comprised of a sweet corn mash base. The front has a subtle sweetness and not too sharp. It has notes of a medium char or white oak for a smoky flavor in the middle, and the tail has a super smooth and warm finish.
Go behind the scenes with some of the biggest artists in music today with the Backstage Pass, powered by the sportsguyspodcast.com. Join Brandon Morrill and his co-host Kirsty Krause as they talk to rising stars and legends about their music careers. Listen to their latest tracks and learn fun facts about the men and women behind the music you love. And be sure to tune into the Backstage Pass Monday through Friday from 3:30 to 6:30, powered by the sportsguyspodcast.com. And welcome into the Backstage Pass. And back here on the show, and coming up today at 5:15, a legend and an icon in the industry, 50 years, 5 decades in music, and of course a Grammy Award winner. She's worked with the likes of Kenny Loggins and a whole lot more. Melissa Manchester here on the Backstage Pass. If you don't know that name, stick around. You will at 5:15 today on the Backstage Pass. Back here with Austin, presented by our friends at Jewelry by Tommy, and of course our friends over at Bangtail Whiskey and the Caden Gordon Show.com out there, today's best country mix. I wanted to ask you too, you mentioned that coming from the town, moving to Nashville, cashing in those chips and chasing the dream. Give me some of those challenges, Austin, that maybe some fans don't see in the industry that you guys have to jump through a number of hoops to kind of get to where you're going. Talk about some of those challenges you face.
Yeah. Well, for me personally, being an independent artist, and the main way we get our songs heard, in my opinion, is through the Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon playlists. And they have it to where it is a system, and a lot of great artists release music all the time. So it is hard to get on those playlists to be able to get your songs heard. And that's been one of my challenges since being in Nashville. It's kind of jumping over that hurdle of getting on these playlists to be able for more people to listen to my music. But luckily, with my years of being in town, I've made those connections since then. and it's a little bit easier for me to get on these playlists. But when starting out, you're kind of on your own, and you have to create that buzz yourself. And for me, I already had a buzz created in Western Kentucky and Northern Kentucky and stuff like that. But Nashville is a whole different animal. So to be able to get in front of these different kinds of listeners on these playlists is huge for people like me and a lot of other independent artists. But yeah, that's the main hurdle that I had to face when I first moved to town.
And of course, I know that the glitz and glamour I talk about, we all love going to the shows, man. It's the weekend, of course, floodgates open now too, and definitely saying go out to live shows, support your artists too. Nothing like it. I understand what it feels like in radio because you're always in front of doing something like this, but like, I don't know the adrenaline rush you guys get from being on stage and performing in front of those crowds. And that's got to be something on the flip side of it. It's just the adrenaline rush has to be amazing.
It's my favorite part. I grew up doing it, and I feel the most like myself when I'm on a stage. So there's no bigger rush. It's like a drug rush that to be on stage and perform your songs for a crowd of people, especially when they're singing the words back to you. That means to me, your songs are connecting and your lyrics are connecting to this audience, and it's changing lives. And whether people like to believe it or not, I feel like musicians are life changers. They're like, people in these other industries that help take care of people and change lives. We're the same way. And being on stage for me, there's no better feeling. Meeting the fans, I enjoy staying after and waiting until the last fan leaves the show before I leave. And I'll never take that for granted. That's for sure.
And I got to ask you about this because a lot of people may not talk about it, but as good as you are, guys, on stage, leading everything and singing the songs, and people say you're only as good as your band behind you. Talk about that too, because I always give props to the songwriters out there for creating the music, but then the guys that step on stage to play their respective instruments. Talk about how important that is.
Well, just like we create the songs, they create the show. We have a music director and a band leader that designs the show and the lighting and the transitions. And he's always the one on stage telling us like, hey, you missed a part, or hey, let's go back here. Hey, talk about this during this part of the show. And, we're just the face of the operation, but the majority of the hard technical work, it goes to the band hands down. And I'm super fortunate. I've had the same group of guys since I've been here. I haven't played a show in a minute, so they're off doing their own thing with their respective artists right now. But when the time's right and I get back on the road, they're going to join me again, and we're going to get the train rolling. But yeah, so much respect goes out to the band members for designing the show that the fans love to come out and see. It takes a village to make a show run.
Yeah, words well spoken, no doubt about it, my friend. Too, it's any show out there, especially being a musician, much less a radio show too. Hey, talk about some of the exciting projects you're excited most for 2024. New year, new aspirations, new music, possibly in some of the fans' hands out there too. And of course, you mentioned performing on stage. How excited you are about that too? Maybe hook it on with a tour. Give me some kind of feedback of what you can let the cat out of the bag for the 2024 outlook on new music.
Yeah. So from new music, I have a full EP coming out. It's 7 songs, and Leave Like That was just released a couple weeks ago. That's song number 2. So I got more in the chamber, ready to go.
There you go.
Super excited about it and super anxious to hear fans what they think about it. New direction for me.
I'm looking forward to that too. I can't wait to hear more. Well, I'd say, let's hear another one now. And I'm assuming we're going to hear a song we've already talked about too, at the same time there. But what are we going to hear? Just let the cat out of the bag for the fans.
So I'm not going to play the song we've already talked about, but
Okay.
I figured I'd play the title track of the EP that's coming out in March, April. It's called Running My Mouth.
Give us a little something new. See that? You get exclusive stuff here on the
exclusive
Backstage Pass. Take it away.
So I've always been the guy that I don't say much. I only have a certain amount of words in a day to use up, and by the time I usually get home, they're already ran out. And my girlfriend, she's gotten on to me a few times saying like, why don't you talk more or like be more communicative? And I'm like, I promise. I'm thinking all these things, but I just don't know how to get them out. So I wrote this song called Running My Mouth as a song dedicated to her. So I feel like a lot of other people can relate to it. So I hope you like it. I usually ain't the loudest in the room. Small conversating never was my strong suit. Nothing to get off my chest, I keep it close to the vest. But the game changed when your lips met mine. Now I don't know what's gotten into me. How to get on my sleeve. My heart keeps running my mouth. You're the only thing it wants to talk about. Since I picked you up, I can't put you down. Girl, since you came around, 3 words keep falling out. Yeah, my heart keeps running my mouth. Could be my mama or someone that I just met. You're on the tip of my tongue, I can't help it. I love the future that I find when I look in your eyes. That's why my heart keeps running my mouth. You're the only thing he wants to talk about. Since I picked you up, I can't put you down. Girl, since you came around, 3 words keep falling out. Yeah, my heart keeps running my mouth. Yeah, keeps running my mouth. Don't get me started on what's on my mind. It's the same answer every time, 'cause my heart keeps running my mouth. You're the only thing he wants to talk about. Since I picked you up, I can't put you down. Girl, since you came around, 3 words keep falling out. Yeah, my heart keeps running my mouth. You're the only thing he wants to talk about. Since I picked you up, I can't put you down. Girl, since you came around, 3 words keep falling out. Yeah, my heart keeps running my mouth. Yeah, keeps running my mouth.
A little exclusive right there on the Backstage Pass. Austin here on the show, and can't wait for the new songs to come out, hit all the streaming platforms out there for you guys to enjoy that one. And of course, some new music, a leave like that across all these streaming platforms out there too as well. And looking forward to all that great music, and also looking forward to see Austin in Nashville here in a couple of weeks right there in Music City. A couple of nights back to back. Everybody knows the Doghouse Saloon there on Demumbrian. 28th, 29th, broadcasting live there through all the different social media too as well, and KKTC Facebook page, and possibly the Doghouse Facebook page. Working on that too as well, interviewing Nashville's best and brightest there, 5:30 to 10:30 there. And of course on Friday, switching locations, going over to the Wild Beaver Saloon on Commerce over there too, about 5:30 to 10:30. So come on by. First come, first serve out there too. And let's hear your music, and get to know you more as an artist out there too, because man, the Omni is already packed for all the stuff there for that week. T. Graham Brown, Runaway June, and a whole lot more joining us there at the Omni Hotel, and still adding to that broadcast the 28th, 29th, and March 1st, along with the live remotes, all thanks to our friends over at Bangtail Whiskey and the CadenGordonShow.com, and of course our friends at Jewelry by Tommy. Speaking of that too as well, for jewelry, guys, don't mess it up. It's coming up next week, a couple of days after the big game between the Niners and the Chiefs, which we're going to get an Austin prediction here in just a little bit too as well. And of course, you're looking for that perfect gift, spouse, friend, family member. Jewelry by Tommy, it's got you covered. Email that email address there, burleysystem@yahoo.com, BUEHRLE system@yahoo.com today to order. And a final time out here, coming back with Austin, a big game prediction, and I hope he's on the side of where I'm at too. I'll reveal my prediction here just a little bit too as well, and we'll get into some rapid fire coming up here on the Backstage Pass, KKTC True Country 99.9, HighTideCountry.net, and powered by the Sports Guys Podcast.com. Stay tuned.
The Caden Gordon Show, today's best country mix, is a 2-hour show playing independent and mainstream country music you know and love. Be sure to check it out at thecadengordonshow.com for more information on the show.
The Bangtail Pour is comprised of a sweet corn mash base. The front has a subtle sweetness and not too sharp. It has notes of a medium char or white oak for a smoky flavor in the middle, and the tail has a super smooth and warm finish.
Go behind the scenes with some of the biggest artists in music today with the Backstage Pass, powered by the SportsGuysPodcast.com. Join Brandon Morrill and his co-host Kirsty Krause as they talk to rising stars and legends about their music careers. Listen to their latest tracks and learn fun facts about the men and women behind the music you love. And be sure to tune into the Backstage Pass Monday through Friday from 3:30 to 6:30, powered by the SportsGuysPodcast.com. And welcome into the Backstage Pass. And back here, final segment, of course, not done for Friday. Melissa Manchester coming up here in a little bit. She's doing a huge media day. We got a luxury to be a part of that too. Grammy Award winner and 50 years in making music. Hard to believe we get to talk to Melissa Manchester here on the Backstage Pass. And of course, a big show coming up March the 5th. You're not going to want to miss. Austin knows who it is, but you're not going to know until I let the cat out of the bag Monday morning. So that's a good thing right there too as well. Trust me, it's a big name. Austin, they'll want to tune in, right?
Oh, yeah. Keep it in your back pocket for now, but you'll definitely want to tune in.
A guy you know very well, too, as well. Definitely will put him on March the 5th here on the Backstage Pass, one of our connections we made at last year's country radio seminar. And if people know me, they know I went to the Opry. So if that don't let the cat out of the bag, he headlined the Opry last year with Randall King and a whole lot more there on the Grand Ole Opry stage there. We got to see while in town for country radio seminar. All right, let's get the prediction. I've talked about it enough. I've got 27-20 for the big game, number 58, with the San Francisco 49ers and the Kansas City Chiefs. I've got the Niners winning by 7. What's your prediction?
I also think the Niners are going to win. I mean, you can't count out the most explosive offense in the league. I think it'll be 35-27. I'm just going that route, and I think they're gonna beat them that bad. I mean, I know Taylor Swift will be in attendance, so that might give the Chiefs a little boost. But I mean, I think it's the 49ers' time. I think the Chiefs have had their run, and they'll probably be back next year. But I think this year they're out.
You know, we've heard so much about that too as well, and all the press it's getting to out there too. Which, you know what? Hey, well deserved. Let them have fun. They're having a good time out there. They're not hurting anybody. She's there in his corner, supporting her guys. So you know what? And honestly, the guy's going to be a Hall of Fame tight end player. He's going to get in the Hall of Fame when he retires. Wait, whatever, just 3, 4, 5 years to get in there too as well. But a first ballot Hall of Famer and one of the greatest tight ends of all time that we've seen play the game. And the guy knows the right way to line up and run routes and play the game. And I think it's just a special thing for sports now too. And it's cool the media's behind it, you know?
Yeah, for sure. I think it gives it that much more exposure. I'm surprised he's not making a surprise appearance for the halftime show.
Hey, you know what? I'm looking forward to that. And, of course, Miss Reba singing the national anthem, too, to kick things off, and Usher performing the halftime show. And, of course, all the, $5 million, $6 million for 30 seconds of a commercial?
Yeah. No big deal.
No big deal. Yeah, we just got that kind of money rolling into as well. And we'll book that Doritos or whatever it is, Bud Light or whatever it is out there, too, definitely. All right, I got to ask you, when not doing music, what are some of your favorite hobbies to get into?
I love sports, so I like playing catch. I grew up playing baseball, went to college and played. So anytime I have the opportunity to play catch, I'm all for it.
I like that. What's your for Major League Baseball? Who's your team?
St. Louis Cardinals.
There you go. All right. See, that's that old rivalry between us and the Houston Astros down here, me being from Texas. So it used to be National League Central. We used to beat up on each other for playing, 16, 18 times through a 162 game season. So those good rivalries between it went back to 04, 05 when we had the shot to play you guys in the National League Championship Series and definitely finally reached our first World Series. You know, I was at I got to bring up a bad memory here, but I'm going to do it anyway. Brad Lidge on the mound, Game 5, Minute Maid Park. I'm sitting on the first base line. Pujols hits it to Kingdom Come. And I think that ball's still going into orbit. I know you'll never forget that moment, right?
Oh, yeah. He was my favorite player growing up. I had a fat head of him in my room. So anything he did, it's in my head forever.
I love it. It's just the ball that keeps on going, too. Hit the light standard and probably fell right through it and actually soared into space. It didn't fall down. Actually, I'm sure it just kept into orbit out there, too, at the same time. But there you go. It was so quiet. You hear a pin needle drop in that yard because it was just like it sucked the air out of that entire stadium back then.
I bet. I only got to see him play once. They played the Chicago Cubs back when it was towards the – was he on the team? It was whenever Sosa was still in the outfield. It was like his last year on the Cubs. I don't know if Pujols was in the league yet, but that's my last time I saw the Cardinals play.
Cardinals play ball. No, I want to go to the new Busch. I got a chance to pass by the old Busch, but never see a game there. But I want to go to the new Busch out there too, no doubt. You know, it's a beautiful stadium, and of course the archway, the gateway to St. Louis, and of course all that great stuff out there. I think it's a beautiful ballpark. I did get to go to Wrigley when I was growing up too, which was amazing. And I still say probably next to Fenway, one of the greatest places ever to watch a game at. That my
Definitely.
dad took me to growing up. So there's nothing
Do
like
you
going to the ballpark. It really isn't.
absolutely. Do you have like a goal of going to all stadiums?
I did when I was young. I think as the newer ones have become more apparent now, it's gotten a lot harder to kind of get out there, travel expense. And of course, now I'm a first time father. So taking care of an almost 4-year-old, it's starting to get busier now. But when they, seeing teams when they come to Houston and getting some weekend tickets and kind of going out there doing some stuff and watching a game and letting my daughter down, she can kind of grow up and, hit the ball off a tee and maybe get into something like that to play. So it's kind
Yeah,
of a cool thing there to expose it to the younger generation and of course your kids. That's what it's all about.
for sure. I love Houston. I've never been to an Astros game, but I played a show there, I think 2 years ago at the Rustic. Do you know where the
Okay, I know
Rustic
where the
is at?
Rustic is. Yep.
Yeah, I played there with Tyler Rich.
There you go.
So
Big
I hope
time,
to come
big
back to
time.
Houston soon.
If you do, brother, we got to stay in touch and go to a ball game. There you go.
Definitely. Love to. Now we're
First-
talking.
First beer's on me, baby. It's Coors Light. What can I say? I got to get a Coors Light sponsorship on here too to the program, no doubt. Got my whiskey. Got to get my beer sponsor too as well. That's coming. We're in talks for that
Oh yeah.
as of right now. All right. When it comes to the first song you ever sang live on stage, could be anything, a cover. First time you stepped behind a microphone, what song came out?
God Bless the Broken Road, Rascal Flats. It was at a
Number one.
middle school talent show, and that was my song of choice. I wanted to sing like Gary LaVox growing
There you
up, so I had every record. So I figured that was the perfect one to bust out.
He's still doing some big things, making his mark in the industry ever since they Gary LaVox, one of the best vocalists I've ever heard in my entire life. Period. I mean,
Absolutely.
just a fantastic artist in his own right too, and of course the number ones they had out there too. I want to ask you about this. I haven't talked too much about it this week, and I did on the radio show this week too. But man, country music losing a legend. 32 number one hits, 30 years in the business. If you wanted to understand how the music business side of it worked, look no further than the legend Toby Keith. Give me some thoughts on that.
I mean, like you said, he's a legend. I grew up on his music. I remember as early as 5 years old wearing a cowboy hat and stealing my little pull up, singing "Should Have Been a Cowboy." So he was one of my inspirations. When I heard the news, I had to take a minute and just be silent, just because we did lose an icon, and so many people looked up to him, especially as an artist and in the business side, like you said. I mean, not a lot of people know all the stuff he did behind the scenes to help break a lot of artists, like Taylor Swift, for instance. He had a huge hand in her career, and he'll be missed by all of the community of Nashville and around the world.
All right, when it comes to food spots in Nashville, there's never a shortage of anything out there. But I'm going to get the Hattie B's and the Prince's hot chicken when I get to town. So where do you like to eat when you get a chance to kind of hit Broadway or go to Demumbrian or Commerce? Where do you like to go?
So before I go there, between the Prince's and Hattie B's, I'm a Hattie B's guy.
Okay.
I know that's like the name brand, but I'll always stick with
All right.
them. But my favorite restaurant, it's called Red-Headed Stranger, actually, in
Really?
East Nashville.
All right.
I think it's Willie Nelson's restaurant that he opened
Uh-huh.
up. It's just strictly street tacos and breakfast tacos, and it's the best taco you'll ever eat, not meat.
Well, have
But
that too.
you
You
get-
meat
you-
to eat it, right? Yeah.
It'll meet you later too.
It'll meet you later too.
Yeah. If you have some free time, I would definitely check out Red-Headed Stranger.
I'm gonna check that out too. I got to get in that night, the 27th, for all the chaotic stuff begins at the Omni the next morning. So I've got to get some breakfast tacos. That's might want to go to drive through. If you can drive through there, get them, and then hightail it over to the hotel. We begin our coverage on the 28th. The Red-Headed Stranger. I'm gonna check that out too when I get into town. And the night I get in there, I've already made myself a promise. I'm definitely going to get the Hattie B's chicken sandwich to go. Get back in my car and get over to where I'm staying. So because I know it's eating that late's probably not good, but at least I can say I checked that box the next day so we can
For sure.
talk about it here on the show, man. Well, I
You
tell you
gotta,
what,
you got to get the hottest flavor too,
Hottest-
just to try it out. You got to. It's called
then
Shut the Fuck Up.
the hottest flavor. I'm like, yeah, and it'll meet me later, like you said. It'll
Definitely.
come back to get you, no doubt about it too. Hey, brother, I love it. Leave Like That, the latest single, more good stuff coming out of his camp coming up here in a few weeks. I hope to see you at the live broadcast there at the Doghouse for a couple of nights, the 28th and 29th, and the Wild Beaver Saloon. Come on out anytime, first come, first serve. If you want to join us, have some fun, play some more music from the upcoming EP. We'd love to have you. And if you want to put that on your calendar, thanks for being on with me. I sure appreciate it. And dude, I'm here in your corner 110%. If I can ever promote the music and show the love, I'm going to do it, man.
Thank you, man. It's been a pleasure being on your show today. Thanks for having me. And yeah, I'll definitely be seeing you during CRS week. I think I'll be in the Omni for some of that stuff too. So hopefully we can run into each other.
You know what? Just sometimes they come impromptu. I remember last year we were just messing around, had a break in the action too, and somebody was just standing there. I'm like, "Come here, let's just go do the interview. Let's go. Come on, let's go." And that person ended up being Tracy Lawrence. So I
Oh man.
was like,
Oh,
"Well,
man.
hey, sometimes they come to you and you don't even schedule. Just impromptu is the best way to get something done there too. Check
Definitely.
him out at It's Austin Music on Instagram. Make sure you go download the music across all your streaming platforms. And of course, we're not done today. Coming up here, I'll take a breather. Melissa Manchester about 5:15 today on the Backstage Pass. Thanks to our sponsors. And of course, out there, powered by the Sports Guys, podcast.com. Catch all the shows out there archived, and hightidecountry.net. And of course, our friends, the CadenGordonShow.com. You check out the show Fridays. Hear all the shows reruns on there too as well if you missed something. And of course, out there, KKTC True Country 99.9 and via the streaming app. We'll see you guys back in a little bit. Melissa Manchester on the show, Grammy Award winner, and 50 years in the music business. Hard to believe, a legend, another icon here on the Backstage Pass here. Our thanks to Austin, the entire team, of course, Aaron Kaiser at Morsheim, and of course, Caitlin Blackford over at Marbaloo for setting everything up. We'll see you guys with Melissa Manchester in a little bit. Stay tuned for a lot more. It is the Backstage Pass. God bless and stay tuned. We'll talk to you soon.